We've spent the last 10 minutes or so listening to the business of Charlene and Candice, which is Greenwise skip bags and bins hire. There's a really interesting business and concept. Have you guys been listening?
We have.
In the background?
Yep.
You've got some questions to start going on, and you're ready to do the dissection.
We definitely do.
Beautiful. I will leave you to it. I'll see you in a bit.
I undertook some research last night in regards to this type of business. And I found that there were quite a lot of businesses out there with various skips, various bags, and all promoting sustainability. Now, the one thing we all know when it comes to business is about solving problems for a profit. And I'm not sure if those problems aren't already being solved by other businesses. And I'm not sure if there is a niche here to create a profit. So, Matt, what are your thoughts?
From what I heard, and they talk about getting into franchising and they want to franchise the trailer business, but also they seem to be running this sustainable aspect of the business where they are recycling as many of the items that they collect in these bins as possible and then giving them away to charity. Now, there is going to be a great expense in that, and what I need to know is what is their goal from this business? Like they say franchising, but then they also say sustainability. Are they after the greater good or are they actually after creating a business and making a profit? And I think that's the fundamental question that needs to be answered, because I don't think they have decided what they're doing with that yet. That sustainability aspect of their business is just costs and expense at this stage. It is not deriving any income. So I think they need to decide whether they need to actually set this up as a not-for-profit. If their goal is sustainability, set it up as a not-for-profit, and you can obviously receive several tax breaks with doing that, and then fund that through the skip bin business. In doing that, from, I know, research that you've done, Andy, they're going to have to charge a premium because it is a very competitive market.
Very competitive.
In these skip bins. That's the first question that needs to be answered. If they're looking at just going into franchising and the differentiator is their sustainability aspect, that's fine, but they need to know the numbers around that, because that recycling aspect to me is not generating any income. It is only the trailers that are generating incomes.
I'm a bit confused, David, because I just fail to see there's a viable business in this one, I'm afraid to say. You know, I agree with everything you said, Matt, is what are they franchising? Because another franchise won't have that passion of sustainability like they may have.
That's right.
And they'll just want to be making money out of it. And if it's the trailer business, then you wouldn't franchise the trailer per se, you'd sell them. So I'm just really confused with what they're really wanting to out of this, and I can't see the numbers stacking up at this point.
Yeah, for such a young business, they're looking at spending a considerable amount of money, sort of even in their first year, which I think is going to have a serious impact on their cash flow, which is already struggling at the moment. I think part of the reason for that is they're spending a fair bit of effort in the sustainability sector, environmentally sustainable, but it's not going to be sustainable for their own business. And so if we look at the possibility of the not-for-profit for the sustainable section, but they also want to franchise the trailer, it's almost that they're at two different directions, and they're not really actually gelling all that well.
They're pulling apart almost.
They are.
Against each other.
So it's going to be really difficult to franchise the model as it currently stands.
And the marketing, I googled the business name and I couldn't even find it in a web search, actually putting in the business name. So clearly their marketing is also lacking massively.
So business doctors were really concerned, and I think there needs to be some frank questions asked and some guidance perhaps given here, because many businesses start up with a nice idea, emotions, getting advice from family, friends, and not really thinking it through and getting guidance from someone who's been there and done that.
It can be brutal.
And can be brutal. And I think it's time now to, as they would say, freeze frame, stop, and have a look at the true numbers and what the potential is.
I agree, David. I think it's time we'd be brutal. If it's not us, someone else needs to do it. So,
well, life will always be brutal. I mean, one way or another, you know, I know, over the next 10 years, life's going to give them some brutal lessons, because what's being done right now is being done through emotion, not objectivity in good business sense.
I agree.
Agreed.
So, business doctors meet Candice and Charlene. You've had time to rummage around in their business, and you've got some solutions for the ladies.
Yes, we do.
You do. How are you guys feeling?
Yeah, excited, a bit nervous.
Nervous?
Yeah.
So would I be. I'm kidding. Good luck. I'll leave you in their capable hands.
Thank you very much.
So my concern is that you're trying to create a for-profit business on a not-for-profit business model. Now, if you're a not-for-profit business, you can receive tax breaks, and there's a lot of benefits of being that not-for-profit business. But trying to be a for-profit business, I would assume that you're going to have to target customers and also compete against very efficient businesses that don't really care about sustainability. And I don't agree with that, but that's going to be your competitor.
Yep.
So my suggestion is that you need to model these figures and get a real understanding of whether it's profitable.
If cash flow is an issue, why are you spending money on re-engineering another trailer?
The trailer that we've currently got, we have picked up a couple of issues with it. One of the biggest issues is the weight of the trailer. We would like to reduce the weight of the trailer to allow us to carry a bigger load. We are restricted to only carrying 1.2 tons at the moment, and we would like to carry a little bit more. This trailer, when it was designed with quite an industrial middle section, which actually doesn't need to be the way it is. We also would like to change the hydraulics of the trailer just to make it a little bit more user-friendly. The trailer, currently there's two of us using it, but we would like the unit to be used as a single person.
What I'm concerned about here, I'm not sure there's enough profitability in the business to sustain a franchisee and enough coming back to you as a potential franchisor. So that's one of my biggest concerns, and I note your comment that the franchisee would potentially bring back their waste to a central plant for you guys to process. But that wouldn't be practical if they had a franchise well south and you're north. Yep. They're not going to drive from one side of town to the other. They're going to go to the local tip. So I really think that's got a major flaw in it as well. So, and with the upfront cost of the trailer, the initial franchise fee would have to be between 50 to 100,000 to cover the trailer and the setup cost and something in it for you. So therefore they're going to want a decent return on investment. So I'm particularly concerned about that, with the models actually viable to be franchised. So I know you've just changed your name and you're a very young business, and I acknowledge that, but I actually searched by your business name and I couldn't find you on the internet. I'm sorry, I'm really struggling with this business. I just don't see it a franchisable business at this point. I think you definitely need to run 2-3 years to have a track record of profitability. As Michael said, iron out a lot of the inefficiencies, but right now it's just way too premature to look to franchising, and I'd be focusing on something else personally.
We love your passion and what you're doing. The community needs it, the globe needs it, the planet needs it. It's time. But how that strategy is formulated, I think, is not in your heads at this point in time. And the profitability of that strategy, you haven't got a grasp of. And so it's time for you now to say to people, what are your thoughts? Go to someone who's been there, done that. You know, really find someone who has taken a dream and made it a reality, and ask for their advice. But those are our thoughts for today.
So guys, I can feel a little bit of deflated energy here. What was said, what did you think?
Well, I suppose it is a bit deflating. This is our baby, and obviously as new business owners we obviously want it to succeed. We kind of know that we need to get our margins up and our figures really tight. The idea is not to franchise straight away.
Yeah.
And whilst the sustainability part does take a lot of effort at the moment, we are hoping to streamline that process so that in the future we're not spending as much time.
Yeah.
And I think we need it as a planet. Like even I mean, obviously we want to make a profit and that's why people are in business, but we need to do this. It's really important for us, and I think the people of Perth will rise up. Like, I think they'll see the value in this business.
So your questions were around the franchising, the systems and processes, the cash flow, and the marketing. And the message that came back was not that the idea was poor, not that Perth wasn't ready for it, not that you wouldn't get on board the different partners or the support that you needed, not that any part of it was a bad idea. They were for your business and your business idea, saying go for it. But I guess what the message came through for me was we've seen, or they've seen, what the mistakes that all the businesses make, and that is they go belly up.
Yeah.
In year 1, year 2, and year 3,
Yeah.
85% of them are gone. So what they've said is don't spend the money on the marketing, don't think about the franchising. The only thing you need to worry is about your cash flow, so go and do that direct selling to make sure you get enough long-term contracts to pay the bills, to pay your wages, to sort your cash flow so that you guys can succeed. So you guys have been great. It's been really great to have you on the show. We will tune in next year and see where we are. Maybe you can be proving them wrong. So thank you very much for joining us on another episode of the Business Doctor Show. Join us again when the Business Doctors dissect one more Perth local business.